It's time for Tubi Tuesday, and today we're talking about Wolf from 1994, starring Jack Nicholson, Michelle Pfeiffer, James Spader, Christopher Plummer, directed by Mike Nichols. Now, Mikey Nichols, you know, Nick Miller from WWE, no? Okay, let me go sit down. So, I wanted to do a walk-on intro, but I also wanted to talk about, in the 90s, they decided to start doing remakes of classic Universal Monster movies. Now, so that's how we got Bram Stoker's Dracula, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and eventually The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. Yeah. This one came out in 1994, which I think Bram Stoker's Dracula was 92, right? Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, hold on. (1992), and then Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, 94. It's about the same year. But like, this also came from Columbia TriStar, right? So these three. And then The Mummy went back to Universal. Because I think Frankenstein and Dracula are public domain stories. And then you have Wolf. You could do any, it's not called The Wolfman. To do that, you have to go Universal. But you could do any werewolf movie. A guy gets bit by a wolf, becomes a werewolf. You could do that. You could write anyone could do a movie like that. So, but this is very close. The story is, of course, different. Because it's not the Wolfman. But there was never a remake in the 90s of the Wolfman. That was to the 2000s with Benicio del Toro. So, this is the closest we get to an actual 90s remake of the Wolfman, and it came out during that run of time when they were doing that. So it counts. So I was kind of dreading this when I went to look and see how long it was. 2 hours and 5 minutes. Yeah, I don't have to go on a rant about how all movies should be an hour and a half, right? But this was... this is not what you'd expect from a werewolf movie. But that's not a bad thing. You have Jack Nicholson, who you wouldn't pick to be the star of a werewolf film, but it's not that kind of werewolf film. It's not like, he turns to a werewolf and he's jumping around. No, that's just the climax. A lot of it has to do with... So, Nicholson plays the character of Will Randall, who is a publisher at this publishing firm, and he's trying to keep his job. Most of the film consists of him using his wolf senses to work around and get the job back and all that stuff. And occasionally he'll turn to a wolf and something will happen, that sort of thing. It's very slow paced, but very well done. I did double takes during the opening credits, okay? Because it's directed by Mike Nichols, who did a lot of things. Virginia Woolf, and another one back in the 60s, as well as, we have Ennio Morricone, who did the score for the freaking Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing, doing the score for this. And the score is not your typical bump, 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 dark, brooding score. No, a lot of it is very melancholy, very type stuff. It's only in the climax that they need to have that kind of thing. And I like the score, The special makeup effects were done by Rick Baker, who did the effects in American Werewolf in London. And as soon as you see that, you think, okay, these effects are going to be awesome. However, it's not what you think. And I guess, maybe don't judge a Rick Baker by his cover. Don't look at it and say, oh, it says Rick Baker, so these have to be fantastic. Because that's not what this movie is going for. It's a subtle movie. This isn't werewolves jumping out at you and attacking. No, this is very subtle. It's very well done. It's very, it's taken slowly. It's taken care of. It's not big effects. In fact, you only get a little bit at a time. His ear will kind of twitch a little bit, and like his eyes will glow a little bit, and then little gradual things here, and the fangs, and little hair here, and yeah, it's very well done. It's very slowly done, and it works. And again, Jack Nicholson is not the kind of actor you'd think would be the main character of a werewolf movie, especially since the man was pushing 60 at this time. He was 57 years old in 1994, and his love interest in this movie was Michelle Pfeiffer, who was my age in 1994. Yeah, she was 37 years old in 37 years old in 1995. No, from 1994, I think. Close to my age. So, yeah, there's a difference. He was 57, she was 36. There's a 21-year difference. So she was younger than I am now. 1 year younger than I am now. When this, So, yeah, there's a 21-year difference between them. She's the love interest. And their love interest stuff does come out of nowhere, as Will's actually married when this film starts. And then they throw in this nonsensical thing where she has an affair with his protege Stuart, played by James Spader. And it doesn't... The only thing that does, really, is to set up that James Spader also becomes a werewolf. That's it. Like, there's really no need. Like, afterwards, he's just staying at a hotel. We don't see them have a big argument. There's a little conversation they have in the lobby of the hotel, but that's it. There's not really anything, big blow up, like, okay, you're out. But he leaves. That's the thing. He leaves the house. She cheated on him. She should have to leave the house, right? Like, I picked out Stuart right away, especially when I found out it was, my protege is next in line, and he'll jump with me. And then it's James Spader, and I'm like, nah, he's setting you up. Because it's James Spader. He plays conniving people very good. You've seen the Mannequin? He's that guy, he plays maniacal people. Have you seen Boston Legal? The exchanges between him and William Shatner are just fantastic in that, and they're both conniving against each other. No, you don't hire James Spader to play the good guy, so I caught that from a mile away. And yes, when Jack Nicholson finds out that Stuart's cheating with his wife because he can smell the scent, he bites Stuart. And then the film takes forever to come back to that, and we're supposed to forget about it. But I am still wondering, and you see like a bandage on his hand. Now, most of the people are forgetting to see bandage. Oh yeah, he was bit. Sure, but I never forgot that. I'm just like, what's going on? We of course, we don't see any of these mannerisms until later in the film. Of course. Because when it's needed to. Yeah, and there's also some small roles. Allison Janney has a quick, and you'll miss it, blink and you'll miss it moment where she has one line. Apparently David Schwimmer is in here somewhere at a party guest. I didn't see him. Christopher Plummer was pretty good as the boss. There was also Michelle Pfeiffer's father in this, and he's the guy who wants to get Will out. I was surprised that Jack Nicholson's name wasn't Jack, as he likes to play roles named Jack. I was especially surprised to find out that it wasn't Jack after I found out that Jack Nicholson actually pushed to get this movie made. And why isn't his name Jack? He plays Jack Napier, right, in Batman. Give me. Oh, little acid reflux there. Hold on. And then his character's name in Chinatown was also Jack. There's that line. Forget about it, Jack. It's Chinatown. That line. Or Let It Go, Jack. It's Chinatown. One of the two. I've never seen Chinatown, but I know that line. That's like that way with a lot of movies, you know. Anyway, yeah, he's trying to get rid of Will. Will wants to keep his job. He got people, including David Hyde Pierce, who is very underutilized here. He has a few scenes as this guy who works there. He and the secretary say they'll walk out with him, including another writer who also walk out. You know, and then he says that Stewart will walk out with him. We know that's not true, especially when we find out it's James Spader. We know that's not true. And yes, of course, he's losing. He's losing his job, and Stewart is a lying asshole because straight out, Christopher Plummer tells him, he begged for your job. He begged for your job. He's like, oh, you get the job. Well, I tried to tell him I didn't want the job, but I tried to tell him you should keep your job. Yeah, he begged for it. So then Jack connives, and Will connives to get his job back, and he does it. He does it. This whole thing kicks off, though, in the first scene, which is actually done pretty well. He's just driving down the road. He's wiping his windshield, which is distracted driving, and he shouldn't do it. He must not have windshield wipers, I guess. And then, boom, hits this black wolf. And I'm like, the thing's not dead. This is the inciting incident. This is how he gets the, right? So, he pokes it with his stick. And so he goes to move it, and then that's when he gets bitten, and it runs off. And I at first thought this was going to be Michelle Pfeiffer. Now, given the ending scene, maybe you can see that maybe it was her, or there's a better logical explanation for that, because he would have smelt that she was another wolf if that was the case. But yeah, and so he starts to hear things better. You can smell things, all the heightened senses, and it does take a while to get to the werewolf transformation. He kills a deer, and he wakes up, and he thinks he sleptwalked and hit his head, or at least that's what he tells Michelle Pfeiffer. He starts to, and it's weird because he and his wife are on the outs because she was cheating on him with Stewart, and then he met Michelle Pfeiffer at the party that his wife was already at, and then he does bring up the part after that he's still married, and it's weird when the cops show up at the hotel room. He calls her Miss Smith. I guess they don't know who she is, I guess, but they end up finding out who it is anyway. I don't know, but yeah, because Will's wife is found dead in Central Park, and they think Will did it. We're led to believe it is. According to Wikipedia, it was Stewart, but I don't know if we ever get confirmation in the movie. If I missed it, let me know. There's a lot of wolf stuff later on in the film. Maybe he did a confession, but who knows? But yeah, we get a showdown. When he's chaining himself up because he thinks he's the wolf man, right? And Stewart, so he's at the estate, but she goes in because she is convinced that it was. She goes into the police station because she believes now that Will is the killer. But when she gets there, Stewart is also there because they say, "Oh, a friend of his also wants to talk to the police." He's gonna throw him under the bus. He's framing him, which I guess you could see. Oh, he did it, and now he's framing Will so he can take his job. That's what he wants because he was asking, before. And he's acting weird, and we see the eyes and everything. And so she believes, okay, something's not right, and she no longer believes that Will is the killer. So she runs back, and Will is transformed, and Stuart breaks in basically. He kills a couple of guards, becomes a wolf, and they have a fight. Yes, it's very obvious to figure out where the stunt double is. The makeup effects are fine. I don't think they're that bad. They're fine. People expected more. You know. But Stuart is killed. He gets his throat chomped out. He gets mauled by Will and then shot several times with a regular gun, I might add. So they're not going by the basic rules where it has to be silver bullets, because when he's talking to the one guy earlier, he's just like, oh, what are the cures to stop this? Oh, you can use herbs, or you can use the amulet. And I guess the amulet did sort of work, but he has to take it off to fight Stuart. Then he turns into a complete wolf and runs off. And I guess they still think Will did it. I don't know. But they found canine DNA on the wife. Looking at DNA would tell them who it is anyway. Stuart, right? Right? And the movie ends implying that Michelle Pfeiffer is now also a werewolf. She has eyes. She can smell the detectives, who's played by Richard Jenkins, by the way. His, what was it? Gin and tonic or whatever it was that he drank. How did you know? I could smell it on your breath. Earlier he's like, Will did the same thing to his coworkers. He's like, I just put one drop of scotch or tequila in my coffee. How did he smell that? But yeah. There's also a scene after Jack finalizes the deal, Will finalizes the deal to get. See, I should just call him Jack because that's what I think of him. Jack Nicholson finalizes the deal, and then he walks into the bathroom to confront Stuart and tells him, "Look, I finalized the deal. I got my job back." He's like, "Oh." Because first of all, Stuart's lying. I was asking him. He's like, "Oh, I tried to talk to him about the European thing, but I don't know. Guess it's done. Oh, it's okay. I got a new job. Got my old job back. Signed and done. Well, I hope you'll keep me on. You're fired." And then he pisses on his feet. "I'm just marking my territory." Yeah. But yeah, so you may be wondering, how is Michelle Pfeiffer a werewolf? Was she the wolf he hit? Again, I'm going to point out that Stuart is killed by a regular gun, although that wolf at the beginning survived getting hit by a car. I'm just saying. And the reason I thought they'd survive was they're going to do a thing. Oh, in order to reverse it, you have to kill the werewolf to beat. Standard fare in movies like this. They never do that. And if we're doing that, I would actually have it be revealed that it is Christopher Plummer. He has a cane. Call back to the Wolfman lore, the cane with the thing on it. Yeah. Yes. There's no old gypsy woman that tells the story. When the moon is full, even the man, pure of heart. By the moon, full moon, the dawn, that whole thing. No, there's no, not really. Well, it's not a complete remake. But if you're wondering if she's not the wolf that he hit, which is probably what people might guess, the guy says, because they cover it earlier, that guy that he visits says that you can transfer it through a bite or passion. So basically, because they had sex, she is now a werewolf, which makes sense. You transfer it like it did. Wasn't there something else? there another movie that did that? Where something was transferred and now they were... Was it a zombie movie? Where the guy was turning into a zombie and he had sex? No, that was changing. I don't remember. I don't know. But... I don't know. There was something. I've seen too many movies with transferable stuff. Transformations. Yeah, I'm going to say it's pretty good. I want to see this one for a while. I thought it was pretty well done. Jack Nicholson is fantastic, as always. He's great. It's not the typical werewolf movie you'd be going into. So if you're going into this, don't think it's going to be a balls-to-the-wall werewolf romp. They're going to be running around. People are going to die. No. It's very subdued. It's very slow-paced, but it's very well done. So what are your thoughts on Wolf? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.